Hello everybody and welcome to EduMedia YouTube channel, your most preferred channel for credible, accurate and educative information. In today's video, we're going to look at calculator in Excel. Not just any calculator in Excel, but we're going to look at the e-levy calculator in Microsoft Excel. With the introduction of the e-levy, it means that every Ghanaian or every resident in Ghana who transacts a business through the electronic transaction is going to be taxed 1.5% on any amount exceeding 100 Ghana cedis. This is a tax that is imposed on electronic transfers of money. It is charged at the time of transfers. And the reason for this, according to the government of Ghana, is that this will help the country reduce dependence on foreign borrowing, that's by increasing domestic tax mobilization. Now, the levy is 1.5% on transactions that are beyond 100 cedis. That's certain transactions. That's when you're sending from one telecommunication to another telecommunication or on the same telecommunication network. Then you are paying 1.5% of the amount if only the amount exceeds 100 Ghana cedis. So what we want to do here is to build a calculator that will assist us calculate and see and know the charges that are going to be put on the total amount that we are sending. So what I've decided to do is to build a calculator that at any point that I want to send an amount of money, I can easily use the calculator. Now, the way the calculator is going to work is that this is the interface of the calculator here, and the way it works, we have an option here, a field where we can select the service provider. The amount we are sending will be filled in here, and anytime we put in the amount we are sending, then the total amount of the charges will be populated here. Now, the breakdown is also here for us to see. Now, the initial amount we are sending, the service charge, and then the e-levy that is going to be put on it. So, for example, if I'm sending an amount of 50 cedis on, let me see, 70 cedis on an MTN network. So if I'm sending that, the moment I type my 70 cedis, then the figures are going to be populated for me, meaning the total amount I'll be sending is 70 cedis 53%. That's including the charges. Now the breakdown shows here that e-levy is not charged on this, so that amount is zero. The service charge is 0.75%, that is 53 pesos. And then the initial amount I'm sending is the 70 cedis. Now, when I'm sending any other amount here on the same MTN network, probably this time around or this particular day, I decided to send 450 Ghana cedis to a friend, and that is going to be charged, and that is going to be populated here. So the charges here, that the service charges here, is 3 cedis 38 pesos. And then the e-levy here is 6 cedis 75%. That is the 1.5% on this amount. That gives us the 6 cedis 75 pesos. Now, the total here, total amount with charges is now 460 cedis 13 pesos. So this is what the calculator will do. At any point when you decide to maybe look at the calculation, assuming you are sending on a Vodafone network, then you select Vodafone, and the amount is going to be updated as well. We proceed here that the service charge has been eliminated, because as far as I know, Vodafone doesn't charge you a service charge. That's at the point of transfer, but only when you are cashing out, that is when the service charge for Vodafone comes in. So therefore, the amount is the service charge is exempted on Vodafone. So the same amount, 450 cedis, if you are sending it on Vodafone, you are sending the total amount of charges is going to be 456 cedis 75 pesos. And then if you are sending the same amount on an MTN network, it's going to be 460 cedis 13 pesos. So you can see that the figures, the total amount updates as and when I change any of the items here. So the only editable items we have is the service provider and then the amount to be sent, and these are the only two options that we can edit. All right, so this is just something small for us to be able to work through. All right, if you are a fan of Microsoft Excel, this will excite you as well. If you are not a fan and you are a beginner, you want to learn Microsoft Excel, probably this will also help introduce you to some of the features, some of the tips and tricks in Microsoft Excel. And if you are not a fan, or you are not even a beginner of Microsoft Excel, or you are not willing to learn it, probably this is the time for you to start thinking about it, because this will help you sort of now looking for a calculator to do your service charge 0.75% separately, and then now do your e-levy on the amount 1.5%, and then you now come and add the two together, add them again to the initial amount. This calculator does it for you, and you have this calculator right on your computer or on your PC. You don't need any network connection for you to use this calculator. You just need to, first of all, follow me along on this video. Let's design it and it becomes your property once and for all. At any point, you can showcase this as one of your works. You can edit it, you can do it anyhow, you can change the colors, you can look at this and probably you'll get an inspiration from it to design something else in Microsoft Excel. So without much further ado, let's start with the application. What I want to first of all do is I want to define the area where I want my design to be. I don't want my content to be anywhere or everywhere on the screen or on the sheet. So first of all, I want to define an area by giving it a border or a color, so that I'll know that this is exactly the area that I'm working with. You can choose any other area, but this is for me to make the work easier for me. Put my cursor, all right. I activated the cell D1, all right, and then move. Then I activated cell D1, and then hold the shift key down, and then move to cell R and move down to cell 24 and click there. All right, so this will highlight this whole section for me. So I can now go into my fill color and select a color that I will use here. I want this area to be filled with a particular color so that I know where I'm working with. This, I think, this was okay. All right, this is okay. Not the same color I used here, but I think this color is a bit okay for me. Another thing I want to do is this border here. You see that there's a black border here, just to make sure I'm working within a particular area. All right, so all these are not very necessary, but for me it helps make my work easier for me. So select an area, give it a thick border. All right, so thing that is not, yeah, so that should be from E2 to kill here. I think that is where I'm looking at, and then I have my border here, so my calculator will be here. So this is what I have at the moment. And first thing first, let's put our heading. The heading, I'm putting the heading here. Let's see. Yes, here. So electronic, yeah, electronic levy. All right, and below the electronic levy is another cell that is for calculator. All right, calculator. All right, let's just move this one cell above. So calculator. All right, so what I will do now, all right, I'll come later to do the indenting. Okay, so here I'm going to type select service provider. All right, and this is where we're going to select the service provider. So let me select two cells here, or three cells, and then give them a new color. Let's just do two cells and give them a fill color that should be, let's give it a bit gray color. All right, and then the next thing we're going to do is also here. This is where we put the amount to send. All right, and amount to send also there. Also, I'm giving it a fill color here. I'll come later to put the functionality there. So the next thing is to define the area where the amount is going to be shown. Total amount with charges here, and then this is where the amount is going to be populated. So let's do this. Let's give that a fill color with an obvious color here. Let's use a deep blue color here. Now if this is a deep blue color, that means that our text color should be white, yellow, maybe white or yellow. Any of them will show very well. Let's use white. And here too, the color we can choose the text color here. So each of this here, we've not put the text, but we can set this before putting the text. Each of these colors here, since I'm trying to follow design pattern, let me use a blue color, the blue color for the text here. So it means that when you come to amount and you type 5,000, you see it's not in black, it's not in color black, it's in a blue color. And then when you come here and then it is MTN, I see that it's in a particular color. All right. So the next thing I want here is to have my breakdown here. Okay, the breakdown of my amount. Breakdown of my amount. And the first one item there is initial amount. Second one is service charge. And the third one is e-levy. Now let's reposition these items very well. I want this to be centered, so let me highlight this and make sure this item here is that okay? Yes, merge the cells. What I did is to highlight from H, all right, to M. This number of cells there, and then I merge them. Okay, I can decide to change the font size. I prefer my chart, and then calculator. This one also here, I can highlight these cells, merge them, and center. So that will be merge and center, and change that also to my chart and make this a bit bolder. You can increase this to 12. This also you can decide to change the color. I think what color will be okay. Let's use this orange accent here and see. I think a bit of variation. So now the next thing is to give this also a color. So let's first of all highlight this here. Okay, let's see what we can do here. Yes, let's highlight this and merge and center, but here I just want it to be left aligned. The cells should be merged, but the content should be left aligned. And then the color for this text, I want it to be a bit not too black, but something a bit closer to black, and I'll make this italic. All right, and this here, so it means I'll make this also the fill color here to be, as I said, gray out, and here too we want the same thing for this here. Yes, so merge here and left align. All right, so I can fetch the same styles here and pour them here. All right, and the same thing is duplicated here. The next thing now is to also extend this and make it give it a color. So I want this to be a bit bigger, make them quite bigger. All right, and also I can have our Ghana cedis here. I can have our Ghana cedis here and make sure this box doesn't have any, or it will have the same fill color. And then bring this back a bit. So I'll change this here to Montserrat as well and make sure I'm centering this. All right, I'm making this centered a bit bigger. I think that is okay. So any amount we put here, that's going to be in Ghana cedis. All right, that's going to be in Ghana cedis. The next place to do the styling is this box here. So I'm going to merge this also and center it. Okay, so merge and center is working very well for me, and this box also here, merge and center it, and that is it for that area. The final part that I want to work on is the breakdown, merge and center but left aligned, and then this is double underlined. All right, and after that we want some figures to be here. So I want these two cells, the cells here, to be given a different fill color. So my fill color was not obvious. In fact, you can do different colors. You can change your colors. All right, this is for demonstration sake. This is what I'm using for now. So let's now move on with this. So what I want to start working on now is here. So I'm going to make this also. All right, and make sure they are centered. So what I want to start working on is here. How to select this particular here. Create the drop down selection here. All right. So to do that, I'll select my cell. All right. This is the cell I want to work with. So I'll select it and then go to my data and then move to data tools here, the group known as data tools. Under data tools, we have data validation. So click on data validation, and here what I want to allow here is the validation criteria. What I want to allow is a list of items. So click here, select list, and then now it's asking us of source. You can have a source somewhere, but here we are going to hard code the sources. All right, so to make this very interactive, I can have a different cell somewhere where anytime a value is added there, it will automatically be added to the list here. All right, so but in this case, I already know the list items that I want here. So I'm going to type MTN separated by a comma, so followed by Vodafone, and then Airtel, Tigo. All right, these are the list items I want here. So after typing this, make sure ignore blank, blank, and then in cell drop down, make sure these are all selected. Then click OK. And then just after that, you see that there's a button here, right? So when I click on the button, it's going to be selected for me. So this is this here. I think that side is done. Let's just do a bit of formatting for this particular cell. So here I want this cell to have the most accurate font size, and then also the text should be bigger, bolder and bigger as well. So I want it to also be centered. So I think this is done, and every item that you select here will have the same font sizing and the same font color. So what I would like to do here at this juncture is click here, copy this formatting, because I want the same formatting to be shown here anytime I type a figure here. So anytime I type any amount here, let's say I want this to also be shown the same format size, and then all this styling should be repeated here for me. So what I can best do is to click here, come to my format painter, click on it, and then pour it here. Voila, and my styling here is done. All right, so that is what I want you to know, that the format painter is actually a good thing. In fact, it's one of the best things that when you are using either Microsoft Word or Excel, it makes the work very easier for you. The next thing to do now is to let's increase this here. No, let's just change the formatting of these numbers. We want it to be shown as numbers, as a currency, of course. All right, so let's put this here so that anytime you type, it will show as currency. All right, after that, I want the next thing here. This is where the value will be populated, and this also, see, when you're typing, this is too small. So here too, let's change that to Montserrat and increase the font size. Make sure it is centered and bolded. All right, so that anytime the amount is put here, I think I can make this cell a bit bigger so that the amount will be so obvious. So anytime the amount is shown here, we'll be able to see it straight ahead. It will be so bold that we'll know that yes, this is the amount we are sending and this is the cost or the charges. All right, so the next thing, let's just do this styling here. So initial amount 599. That also here, let's change that also to the numbers so that I can have it zeros. And here I want this also here to be But I mean, these are all going to be numbers as well because I want them to be in decimal format. That's why I'm changing them to numbers. You can change them to currency, but after changing them to currency, you have to now go through to remove the currency symbol, that's the dollar sign, which is a bit of additional work for me. So numbers was fine for me, so I'm using that here. Now we are done with this. The next thing, let's start our computation here. All right, we know very well that this here is always going to be typed in by we the users, so I don't have to tamper with this. There's nothing I will do with this. All right, I will not do anything for this section. So here, let me just put my 599 for example, and here there's going to be a lot of calculations down here. But before that, first of all, I want this initial amount here to be the same as this amount here. You see, I just hard coded this 599. All right, I can just put 500 here. You see, it doesn't change anything. So what I want to do is to make sure that this amount here is the same as this. Okay, to do that, I'll put my equals to sign here and then click on this cell here, press enter, and that is it. So anytime you change your amount here, 600 here, and this will be updated to 600. If this is 50, this will be updated to 50 cedis. So the first so this cell is also done. The next thing I want to work on is the e-levy. The e-levy, yes. So the e-levy also, you know, outright it is 1.5%. So there's nothing much to do for that area. So you just type your 1.5%. I want the populated figure to be here. So what I want to do now is to calculate my e-levy here. I'll have to do a bit of calculation here. So I want to set it such that when the amount is more than 50 cedis, then this 1.5% should be applied, right? When the amount is less than 100 cedis, or the amount is exactly 100 cedis, I don't want any 5% to be applied. So to do that quickly, you type your equals to and type your if. So if here, and we are saying that if this cell, all right, is greater than 100 cedis, what I want to do is that this cell, okay, should be multiplied by 1.5%. So this cell should be multiplied by 1.5%. Otherwise, it should be just 0. And that is also there. All right. So this is 50. If I type here 100, to still be no charge or no e-levy applied. If I type here 110 cedis, then e-levy will be applied. If this is 500 cedis, e-levy will be applied as well. So that is the logic. The next thing we want to do now is to work on the service charge. Now the service charge here, there's a bit of difference. MTN will charge 75%, while the Vodafone charges 0% on transfers. So to do that, first of all, let's establish that. So what I want to do now is to create an if function that is testing whatever is selected here. So this also, I'm typing my if. So if this cell here, all right, if this cell equals to MTN, all right, if this cell equals MTN. Now you could remember that when I was typing the e-levy one, I typed the 100 without the quotation marks on it. This here is a test, so I have to put the quotation mark on it. So if the cell here contains a word known as MTN, then I want you to apply or to put in this cell here 0.5%. Otherwise, just put 0. And that is also there. Let's work on this here. All right, so let me just convert this to percentage. So let me go to my drop down and select percentage here, and this is 0.75%. all right, so now that I have this, if I come here and select MTN or Vodafone, it's going to be 0%. Airtel Tigo also 0.0%. all right, so the next thing I'm going to do now is to just multiply. All right, so any amount here, or the charge here, is going to be the 0.75% multiplied by the amount I'm sending. So all I have to do is to just do my equal to sign, 0.75, that is this cell here, multiplied by this amount here, and that is done. All right, here to remember, you can use if function to set all this here, but this is the easier way to just do it. All right, so After all this, the next thing is to make sure that this total here is populated here. This is the total amount which charges here. So to do that, I have to make sure I'm adding up all this. So here I'll use my sum function and sum these things here for me, and I'm able to get something here. So I just sum all this here, and then I'm able to get that. So the breakdown of this is L17 to L19. That's here. Well, you can decide to also do it this L17 comma L19 comma and then L19, and then you are done. That is also acceptable. Or you can just click on it and then drag it to do the range from this to this, and then you're able to do your calculation. So this is how the calculator looks like, and this is just something, as I said, something to help us do that calculation as quickly as possible, not for us to be repeating and be looking for calculators and other phones to help us do the calculations. So this is it. Anytime you type an amount here, surrounded, and then you see straightforward the amount that you're going to be charged. That's if you're on MTN. If you're on other network, that's the Vodafone, then you're going to see this total here. All right, so this is how the calculator should look like. As I said, you can make this look the way you want it. You can change the colors, but the concept behind this here is to make sure that you're able to calculate something. Alright, so this is all that I have for you in this video. If you like it, please consider subscribing to this section. Consider liking our video. Please share this video to any other person you know who also value this content. And if you are new to our channel, please subscribe, follow us, send us a comment, and then like our video, share our content. Alright, so see you in our next video.